Hey, what's up, everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to get hit with the truth. So this is True Boxing. It's been a minute since we've been on. I think it's been like 6 months since I brought you guys a podcast. I apologize for that. Been very busy, but kind of reintroducing the podcast back out to everybody. My boy Melly isn't on right now. He's going to be on in a little bit. He did the first 12 episodes with me. But we got a new guy on. His name's Duran the man. He's a guy I've known for years, man. Probably 10, 15 years now.
Coach Mike. Coach Mike.
Coached his son in Little League, man, and me and him just started kind of chopping it up boxing and been vibing about that recently. But yeah, we're getting back to it, man. My boy Melly's gonna be on a little bit later, but we're gonna get rolling with all this. Kind of want to like I said, I kind of want to reintroduce this podcast out to everybody because it's based on my YouTube channel that was kind of started from one of my guys telling me to do an Instagram page years ago. I did it. I started doing some videos, and then another one of the guys that became a fan of mine said, "Hey, why don't you go to YouTube and start posting stuff?" I did that, and it just kind of jumped from there. I'm almost at 500 subscribers, so just trying to keep it rolling with all that, and I post my videos every week, a bunch of different videos. You guys should go check it out if you get a chance. It's also at True Boxing 3281. That's how you can get to my YouTube channel. So, like I said, I'm going to do some intros here, kind of reintroduce you guys to what I do with my page and why I'm doing this. So first off, what got me into boxing kind of deal. Mike Tyson. I mean, I was about 6 or 7 years old, and Mike Tyson was probably the biggest thing in all of boxing, all of sports. I mean, he was huge. I still remember when he lost to Buster Douglas. I mean, that was like the biggest thing in all of sports. It wasn't even just boxing. That was one of the biggest thing in all of sports because it's still considered to be the biggest upset in boxing history right there. And I remember when it happened. Some other memories was the Julio Cesar Chavez versus Pernell Whitaker fight. I remember me and my dad put money on Chavez, and I was shocked when the decision came back that it was a draw because Pernell Whitaker cleanly outboxed Chavez. It wasn't even close. And I remember at a young age going, wow, they robbed this guy. And I was pulling for Chavez, and they still robbed this guy. So those are some other memories. But Oscar De La Hoya back in '96, the story in the Olympics, how his mother had passed away right before that, and then he went out and won an Olympic gold medal. I know a lot of people hate on Oscar, but Oscar is my favorite fighter of all time. I'm going to be real with you. He's one of the guys that kept me in the sport. His heart, how he was never afraid to fight the best guys, win or lose. And I always respected him for that. How he was just a humble fighter that didn't need to be all flashy and talk about the money like Mayweather in order to be the biggest name in boxing. And I really appreciated that about Oscar. And that's what kept me rolling through it all the way up through the recent times. Juan Manuel Marquez was one of my favorite fighters. His knockout of Pacquiao really was a historic moment for me. And just keeping it rolling all the way through now. I mean, I'm still a huge boxing fan, and I really, really just want to keep it rolling with this podcast, and that's why my boy Duran, he's on, and I'm gonna shift it over to you, Duran. So what kind of fighter? What fighters and what kind of fights got you into boxing, bro?
Trinidad, Puerto Rico.
Okay.
I think it was Mama Abdul Thiam. He made his left eye swell up. Looked like they had to cut it right open. From then on, Fernando Vargas, Trinidad. That was also a big fight. But just everything that he did, the power that he had, it was just amazing, bro. And Miguel Cotto too. Both Puerto Ricans. Miguel Cotto was probably even bigger for me than Trinidad because I got to follow him when he was like 12-0. I didn't follow Trinidad like that. So when he fought Joel Perez. And then
Okay.
he fought so many different people coming up from 140 to 147. You know, one of his fights that stand out to me was the rematch for Margarito, because we all know what happened with the first fight, and
Yep.
that really defined his career. I hate to say it, he could have been something else, much more at welterweight. But
Yeah.
back to that story with Margarito, when he dominated him, I only had like 3 rounds for Margarito in that rematch, if that.
Yeah.
And for him to just stare at him, the guy who did that to him, we all seen his face, bro. That was nothing nice. But that's what got me into boxing. Those type of fighters, body punchers, boxer punchers, definitely. Now we got for me, next guy that's gonna keep me rolling for a while is definitely David Benavidez.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, to touch on Cotto, man, because he was one of my favorite fighters of the last, 10 to 15 years. But yeah, I remember I was at my cousin's house that night, and my cousin was all over my ass with some of the people that were there because I wasn't pulling for the Mexican fighter, and I'm just like, well, I don't care. I'm pulling for the guy that I like and the guy that I think is going to win. And
Yes, sir. That's
you
how it
could
went
just
for me every time.
yeah, you could just tell, bro, that there was just something that night that was just off. Whenever Margarita was landing those punches, you could just tell like something was wrong, bro. You know? And he really beat up Cotto. But yeah, I love when Cotto came back and whipped his ass, bro. That was badass, dude. That was a big deal. That was cool. You
Now
know?
you mentioned Marquez, another one of my third favorite fighters. I got so many. I got top five, of course, but
Oh
he's
yeah.
gonna always be on that list, man. He just took care of. Oh man, the technician that he was,
Oh yeah.
I can't. He reminds me of man, or should I say a fighter right now, Virgil Ortiz. He reminds me of what he's kind of copied his style a little bit if you look
Yeah.
closely. But Marquez, man, I don't think I ever got tired of watching his fights up to this date.
Oh yeah, yeah. What I liked about Marquez, bro, is he wasn't your prototypical Mexican fighter. He didn't just go out there and brawl. He was more of a
Mm-mm.
counterpuncher, and that's why his style with Pacquiao was just perfect, bro. Like for me, that's of my generation. That's my favorite rivalry right there.
Yes.
Because those guys are perfect for each other, But Marquez, like the fights with Juan Diaz, the first fight with Juan Diaz, oh my God, man, that was just a
First
war.
round.
Yeah, his fight with Michael Katsides, his fight with what's his name? Shit.
Casamayor.
Yes, Casamayor. I mean, those are just like the
A
breakdowns, the
little
way
bit.
he broke his opponents down, man. I mean, yeah, Marquez was just he was on another level, bro. I love that guy, dude. One of my favorite fighters ever. So, hey, and if anybody, one thing I also want to say to any guests that join us, if you guys want to drop a question on us and be like, I'll stop everything and answer your question. Me and the guys will do that for you. So whatever question you want to ask, go ahead and ask it. We'll stop the whole thing where we're at just to answer that for you guys. So I just want to let you know that most people catch this thing after the fact. You can catch us on my YouTube channel tomorrow, and then we can start posting at other spots. But if you guys want to ask a question during the live podcast, go ahead, man. We're all about that. So
Yes, sir.
um,
Oh,
all that being said, yeah, man. Anything you want to say? Any other guys you want to talk about? D.
woo. We could go on and on forever.
Yeah,
Let's get to these fights let's get to this David Benavidez and Caleb Plant. It's probably the most fastest
yeah,
fight.
yeah. Well, let's talk about the
Go
fights
ahead,
that
go.
just happened last
There you
night
go.
first.
There you go. Let's get refreshed. There you
T,
go.
it's June 11th right now. Last night we saw Teofimo Lopez make history. He
Man,
dominated
yes.
Josh Taylor, in my opinion. But let me get your opinion first, bro. What do you think about that fight?
I honestly feel like he just dominated the whole fight. Well, okay, with 12 rounds, 8-4 is still being nice because he just dominated that whole fight. I mean, if I only maybe gave him 2 at the least and 4 at the most, his defense, everything was just on point. His pop shots, I I can't say I'm not surprised though because I always did think a lot of T.O. despised his character outside the ring. Always did think I don't like him as a person, but I always did think he was a great fighter.
Yeah, yeah. I picked Taylor to win the fight just based on how Teo's looked lately and moving up. But a couple things I had to think about was Taylor's inactivity, but also Teo's hand speed, bro. I mean, he just made it so clear last night how big of a difference that was between him and Taylor. And I know me and you were talking before we jumped live about the fight, and the way Taylor just came in on a straight line and backed out on a straight line. Like, I mean, when you're gonna do that against a guy with the smarts of Teal, you're gonna
He's gonna
get
get
beat.
timed.
You know, I
He's gonna
mean,
get timed. He's getting timed every time with
yeah,
that
and
uppercut,
it was
straight.
just like, I agree with you, bro. Like, it almost looked like it was easy for Tio. His whole like mentality was just like, you could see the confidence that was just going off of him the whole fight, you know, and it was just like, wow. And I thought he cleanly outboxed and outclassed Taylor, and I was very impressed with that performance, man. So
So was I. The only thing is, I wasn't surprised, and I know he had to you picked Taylor. A lot
yeah,
of people probably picked Taylor and wrote him off after Teofimo's last fight. The thing is, his opponent wasn't there to fight either. You can't get into a war with somebody who's just running and running. So a lot of people wrote him off the same way they did Ryan Garcia when he fought Tago. You know,
yeah,
Tago was just running. You got to have a dance partner. So
yeah.
I didn't think that Teofimo, I thought he was gonna do very good. He did even better than I thought.
Well, what I think, like, I agree with you, and then I don't agree with you about the last fight. Sandor Martin is a pure counterpuncher, so I don't think he ran away from Tio. Tio just um, invested in being the aggressor in that fight. And one point you made before we went live was that Tio is sometimes he's better standing there and counterpunching.
Yeah,
And he showed that last night. Like Tio can be a headhunter, but then that's what makes him a great fighter. He can be a headhunter, but he could also be a guy that stands back and counterpunches because he knows how to roll his shoulder. He's got fast hands, like so quick hands, and he also has the power to back it up. He catches you with a shot. You know, even if he doesn't knock you out or hurt you, you're gonna know he hit you with a big shot. You know, and that's what I like about him. But Sandor Martin just had that kind of awkward style. And I think Teo was going out to prove something, so he was headhunting, almost the way he fought Cambosos that night, bro.
yeah, yeah.
Teo was going
Same
for the
knockdown.
knockout,
Same
and
knockdown too.
yeah, and he should have said I think if he would have set it up that night, he would have knocked out Cambosos. But he was just headhunting. He was looking for one punch, and you can't do that. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes guys are just too good for you to look for one punch in a fight, bro. You know,
What's that?
so
You speaking
yeah,
of Cambosos and Teofimo?
yeah. When he fought
Yeah,
Tiafimo, yeah.
yeah. So I mean, with all this health issues, I'm I can't really make on that fight yet. Because
Yeah,
you know supposedly they were deadly. The fluids he had in his lungs. I'm not sure why he fought
yeah,
like that. The doctor told him not to, advise him. So that's
yeah,
just a fight that's a what if too.
yeah, for sure. And a lot of those fights are like that, man, because these guys go into fights with injuries all the time. So
All
you
the
really
time.
you really can't call it, bro. You know, excuse me. But all right, man. Well, it seems like we've well, first off, let's what do you think Tio does next, man? What's your prediction on what he does or what he should
Man,
do?
I like it, bro. You got Ryan Garcia. You got Rollies. I like those two fights from him first. Why not? Just make your name bigger already. Just go for them fights already. It's mainly because I'm a Ryan Garcia fan, and I wouldn't mind seeing Ryan win a belt.
Yeah. I kind of just looking at the promotional side of it. If he sticks with Top Rank, Devin Haney, if Devin Haney decides to sign with Top Rank again, he could fight him. But also, I would love to see Tio and Jose Ramirez, bro. You know, I would
Oh
love to
yeah,
see
that
that
would be
fight
good.
just because Ramirez a big dude at 140 and he brings the fight. And I love to see how Tio counter punches and see if he can knock him out or hurt him. You know, I really would like to see that as the first
That
opponent.
would be a good fight,
But
though, definitely.
yeah, but Tio's really just upped his stock again and proved to everybody like, hey,
Yeah,
I'm here and I'm the top dog now at 140. So that was
I
big.
still got Tio on that fight too, though. I just like the
Oh,
way
me
he looked,
too.
bro.
Yeah,
He looked really good, and
yeah,
everything about him, like he just knew when to. He had that little Mayweather defense huddle we talked about. And,
yeah,
of course, he was getting
yeah,
hit though, but making the other guy just wear out, and he was
yeah,
countering coming in. He would after he
yeah,
would let him throw his little combinations. he come back and start pop shotting him with leading uppercuts, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Made it look
Yeah,
easy.
it was really a great combination of speed and power in that fight. And I'm really looking forward to seeing whatever he does next, man. So I agree with you. What about Josh Taylor though? What do you think he's doing next, man? He
Damn.
says he wants to go to 147. So
Well, I don't think he'll be strong either on that weight. Can't see him being strong on that weight class. Everybody thought he lost the last fight before this one, so
yeah,
I can't really say how much his future looks in boxing.
yeah. Well,
I mean,
my thing
I,
is there's really not that many options for guys that are promoted by the same promoter at 147. So
there you
I don't
go.
know what big fights he can do. Maybe he can build himself up and fight somebody. But I definitely think he took over 140. Now it's kind of the younger guys division.
There you
Maybe
go. That sounds good.
maybe shoot for 147. Yeah.
Him and Virgil Ortiz,
Oh, that'd be a good one, bro.
Yeah.
I do admit. And we'll talk about Virgil Ortiz and
Yeah.
Stanionis a little bit later. But
Okay.
the other fight that happened last night, man, Munguia and Derevyanchenko, man, that
From
ended up
round
being a
one.
war, a fight of the year candidate. What did you think about that one, man?
Two back and forth. I want to watch it again. I gotta watch it again, bro, because from the first round to the end, it was nothing but action. Although Munguia, like I say, he got that knockdown at the end, so that's what changes everything. But it's one of those fights you just got to keep looking back. I
Yeah.
probably won't have my decision on that till the third time I watch it.
Yeah, I just think it's kind of tough to gauge because Derevyanchenko is such a tough, good fighter. But
Yeah,
I don't know if Munguia is the guy that we think he's gonna be, bro. I don't know if he's on that level, bro. And that's all. I think that's what I took from the fight. Looking at the outcome because excuse me, I thought he was just gonna be more dominant in this fight over a guy that he's like 10 years younger than.
yeah.
And Derevyanchenko was just a hog, man. He just went right after him, and he almost knocked out Jaime a couple times. Jaime really needed that 12th round on the scorecards in order to pull off the unanimous decision. And there were still a lot of people that thought he lost that fight. So, yeah, I'm
Well,
with you, though. I got to go watch it again. So,
I had him winning. I can't pronounce his last name, bro. Yeah, you're gonna have to.
Derevyanchenko. Yeah, yeah,
Okay, I had him actually beating Triple G, so I was a fan of him since that night.
yeah,
I had him winning, so just for him to hang in there and fight Munguia the way he did, to be honest, I'm not surprised because I'm not a big fan of Munguia as well. He gets hit too much. I think that his looks, hate to say, got it where it is. He's Mexico, that helps out too. Golden
yeah,
Boy, that helps out too. Big push.
yeah. He's very
Big,
protected.
very big push in his business. I mean, he's been fighting C-level class fighters for a while now. I mean, Gabriel Rosado, it goes back at least 4 or 5 fights. How many? I can't even
Yeah,
count. So, I mean, I can't see him beating one of the Charlos, and I don't really think too much of them either. The
yeah,
older one, anyways. Yeah,
yeah,
the junior middleweight, yeah, but the older one, I can't.
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing is like I think everybody kind of walked away from the fight with Derevyanchenko still with a lot of questions about how good Munguia really is. I don't know if we know how good that guy still really is, and that's what's sad when you've been a champion at 154 and you've been fighting at middleweight. I think this was the 7th or 8th fight at middleweight, and you still don't know how good this guy is. I mean, that's kind of, in my opinion, that's sad. That means you're a protected fighter. You really are, and you're not trying to fight the best guys. You're just not, and
They're definitely saying they want him. How
yeah,
many years have we been hearing this?
yeah, yeah,
There's quite a few of them, but Munguia is one of them as well. And
yeah,
I want to see him in there with somebody as well, bro.
yeah. Me too.
I
Me
mean,
too.
like I said, this fight right here definitely deserves a rematch, just from what I've seen already.
Yeah. Honestly, and just because how many years Derevyanchenko and all the guys he's fought and lost close decisions to, yeah, I think dude deserves a rematch for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And
So
I can't. He's had a lot of bad luck, bro. A
yeah,
lot of bad luck
yeah,
with decisions.
yeah. He really
And
has.
I don't know
There's
how many
been
more chances.
Yeah, well, especially when he's 37 years old, bro. That's tough to gauge, when you're gonna get another opportunity and shit, So
I want to see it again.
yeah.
I want to see it
All
again.
right, man. So let's move on to the next subject. Errol Spence versus Terrence Crawford is finally happening. 147 pounds, undisputed title. What
Still
do you
don't
think,
believe it.
man?
Don't believe it. Still, It's gotta be fight week. It's gotta be. I gotta have pictures with him, bro. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Because it's been going on just too long, bro. Like I don't know. I don't know if I've ever seen in history. I've been watching boxing for 20 years. I've never ever seen champions take this long to fight each other. Never.
I think the only time was Floyd and Pacquiao, bro. But at some point, you knew that those two dudes were gonna fight.
Yeah, and in their favor, they were pretty busy themselves. They were facing
Yeah,
a lot of champions,
yeah, yeah,
Marquez's, everybody, we know, but yeah. So it did happen, some years too late, but this man, everybody should have took notes from that fight already by now.
yeah,
They should have learned, that didn't help boxing having that fight. They still talk about it to this day. You know what I mean? Pacquiao
yeah,
had just got knocked out.
yeah,
Two fights, one fight before that.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it didn't matter by then. And this
yeah.
fight, this fight still does. It still carries a lot of weight as long as they stick to this fight because they're not too old.
Yeah, I mean they got to do it now, or their mandatories are going to have to happen, And I think they've been pushing off their mandatory fights for a long time now, and now they're just to the point where it's like put up or shut up. But I was happy that the fight finally got finalized because it's never been finalized before, It never.
Yeah,
But
I'm still having a hard time believing it, bro.
yeah, me too, bro. Like until we're like up on
Fight week.
on the weigh-in,
Yes,
you know, like I feel like the weigh-in's got to happen for me to believe it, bro. You know what I'm saying? So
yes,
yeah,
sir.
because I feel like somebody's gonna get hurt or something's gonna happen, bro. So
Man. Okay, now who you got with that fight though?
I mean, early I've always felt that Terrence Crawford wins the fight, bro. I just think skill wise, counter punching wise, um, I just have always felt like Terrence Crawford's on that special level, you know. But
Definitely.
but Errol Spence, I mean, I can't
Got
take
that
away
power.
nothing from that dude. He's been a hog, and he's beaten some good fighters, bro. He really has.
They beaten similar fighters. I just the one that stands out to me the most was the guy that Errol Spence had a closer fight with, and that's Sean Porter and,
Yep.
and Terrence Crawford. His punching, like I think it will beat Crawford. I think Crawford will beat him too. I think it's the precision. Like he's just very very good at punching in different positions, and it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. He could be. He's gifted very well.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is Spence hasn't really had to test himself in terms of boxing from certain angles. Like you look at his best wins, beating Mikey Garcia. That to me, that wasn't a shock. I was like, he's gonna smash on Mikey. Mikey's really one dimensional. He's moving up 2 weight classes. Errol Spence is a big dude at welterweight, and I'm like, I never thought Errol Spence was gonna have trouble with him. I did think Errol Spence was gonna smash on Sean Porter, and then Sean Porter went out there and gave the performance that he gave against Spence, and I'm like, wow, maybe Spence isn't as good as I thought he was. And
The
then
knockdown
and
was the
then
difference.
yeah, and then Errol Spence against Danny Garcia, I was like, okay, he whipped his ass, but I was like, okay, like he should have, because I mean, stylistically, I just think Errol Spence is better. But Terrence Crawford, I mean, I agree with you. The fight with Sean Porter really was a big deal because it was a good fight. I mean, don't get me wrong, Sean Porter was landing some good shots on Crawford, but Crawford was just timing Sean Porter the whole time, figuring him out, and
You
then
could see
finally
it.
stopped him, bro. And nobody's ever stopped Sean Porter, and that was impressive, bro.
I have never seen Sean Porter that frustrated as well. So, as soon as he
Yeah,
got knocked down, you could just see the frustration in him. What? How
yeah.
many times did he get knocked down? Twice? Was it the second
I think
time?
it was
Maybe.
twice. Yeah, I think,
Yeah, the second time.
yeah,
The second time you see him give up. You
yeah,
start acting like that when that's way out of character. You don't punch to the ground like that, and you
yeah.
know that was
Well,
a wrap.
it was almost like Morales in the third fight with Pacquiao. After he got
Yeah,
knocked down in that third round, and remember he looked over at his dad and he just shook his head like,
that's
"That's
what he
it."
should have did.
You could tell he just broke his spirit right there. And it was just like, well, once you do that to a fighter, he's done. And I think that's why Porter retired, because Porter was still a beast, bro. He still could be making big fights now.
Yeah,
And he was
I
just
don't
like,
see
what's the
anybody else.
point, you know?
I don't see nobody else, and clearly Spence didn't do it either. But I don't see nobody else doing that to Porter.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you,
Nobody.
bro.
No,
So,
that's
yeah,
any active fighter right now. Like I don't see anybody still doing that. So he retired on. If he retired on that, that's fine. But
yeah.
he can still get down.
Well, it was almost like when De La Hoya retired after Pacquiao. De La Hoya said, he goes, you know what, if I can't compete on the highest level against the best guys,
There you
then
go.
what's the point? You know, and I think that's where Porter was. It was like, hey, I mean, this dude he stopped me. He knocked me out. It wasn't just a close decision. He whipped my ass.
And no
And
one's
and
gonna
and
do that.
and that's respect right there. That's like, hey, if I can't compete against the best guys at the highest level, what's the point? You know, why am
Yeah.
I going to keep
Yeah.
fighting? You know,
Now he
so
gets to enjoy it. Now he gets to enjoy it ringside.
yeah,
He's
and
a
and
commentator for
and
Showtime, right?
yeah,
He
and
works for.
exactly, and
Uh-huh.
that's the ultimate sign of respect, in my opinion, right there, bro. You
Yeah.
know, when you can say, you know, hey,
He
what's
walk
the
away.
point? You know, I can't compete at the highest level, so there's no point in me keep continuing to roll forward. You know, and I respect that. So that's why, for me, I've always felt that Terrence Crawford just had that little special thing that Errol
He
Spence
does.
doesn't have, but it doesn't mean Errol Spence isn't good. Doesn't mean he can't win this fight. Um, they have a rematch clause. The loser has a rematch clause to invoke that right away, and we could be seeing two fights between these two guys before the end of the year. So you know that's going to be big. So
I still can't, man. We're talking about it. You know, like it's signed, finalized, and yeah, still the doubt is always gonna be there, man.
oh yeah,
Um, I just hope they go through with it.
yeah. All right, 1 second. I'm gonna invite my boy Melly in. Let me see if he's there. Melly, you in yet? Hold on. Hey, what's up, Mel? Melly.
What up, man?
Hey, what's up, man? So you want to jump in about Spence and Crawford real quick, bro?
Man. Yeah, I can jump in.
Yeah, go ahead, man. We were just talking about what we thought about it. What's your opinion on it, bro?
I believe it's the best fight in boxing. I believe it's the best fight in boxing. I believe it's the definition of a 50-50 fight.
Yeah. Who you favoring in that fight, though, bro? Oh, he just popped off. All right, guys. Well, we're gonna keep it moving forward, man. I know my boy Melly sometimes has issues with his phone. He's coming at us from New York. Me and my boy D are right here in California, right there. So we're gonna jump into a fight that I know me and my boy D were pretty passionate about. We watched this fight together. That was the Haney Lomachenko fight that took place back in May, and I pretty much know how my boy feels about it, but we'll still talk about it. I'll jump into it first. Um, I was really disappointed in the decision. You know, let me start by not taking nothing away from Devin Haney, because Devin Haney invested into the body. I think that's what won him the 12th round, was the fact that he landed so many body shots and really kind of took a lot of steam, especially since he was so much bigger than Lomachenko the night of the fight. But in terms of dictating the pace and just overall, you know, pushing the action, and landing the better shots. You know, I had Lomachenko winning 8-4. I really did, and you know, I always talk about the two round swing. If there's rounds that are close, you got to give a 2 round swing. So that makes it a draw. But I just don't see how Devin Haney won this fight. You know, like if they would have called it a draw, I would have been pissed, but I wouldn't be as pissed as I am about this fight. You know, especially when the overall consensus was that Lomachenko won this fight, you know? And he put his heart and soul into it against a bigger, younger fighter, and they still gave it to the younger guy, you know? And I was just, I mean, I was just shocked, you know, I really was. And, you know, I like Haney. I think Haney's a talented guy, but I just don't see how Haney won this fight, bro. And what do you think, man?
8 rounds to 4 or 7 rounds to 5. Now, they're both for Loma. The worst that you could give this guy is a draw, in my opinion. That's the worst, and that's even like you said, just gives you upset, not disgusted. But to have all three judges, am I correct or no?
Yeah, yeah,
All three judges. That was a Lomachenko fight. That wasn't a. Any fights are more boring. I hate to say, he just jabs. He's a boxer. That was more of a Lomachenko fight than anything. He just pushed the pace. He even seemed like the bigger man to me. He pushed him back. The right hook. I would give Loma winning the fight before, just based on I felt like Devin Haney didn't have the dog in him to going down the stretch to exchange. And to be honest, I still felt that was the case because if he would have exchanged more, he might have got dropped. You
yeah,
know, he might have got dropped because and then Loma was always in position to throw those hands. So I felt like if that were the case and he would have had that dog in him that I say he doesn't have, then he probably would have got dropped. Not stopped though, but just dropped a couple times. Who knows? But he's very careful. But there's no way that he won this fight. 8 rounds to 4 or 7 rounds to 5. And even with those close rounds, that was still, like you said, it'd still be a draw. I thought. I can't believe they did that to him, bro.
yeah. I'm with you, bro. Like, one of the things that stuck out to me was like I always relate it to fights that I've seen in the past, and there was two fights that stuck out to me for different reasons. First off, the fight. Well, there was kind of three fights. First off, the De La Hoya Trinidad fight.
Yes.
I felt like De La Hoya won that fight, like a lot of people do, but the best you could say was a draw for Trinidad, not a win.
Yeah.
And a lot of people feel that way.
Yeah.
And then the other fight that was kind of along those levels was the Kovalev Ward fight, their first fight,
Okay.
including the knockdown. I was like, there's no way Kovalev lost 7 rounds in this fight to Ward. And the judges still came back with a 7-5 decision for Ward. And I just thought that was a flat out mistake. I'm like, wow, I can't believe that. That was just a flat out shocker. And I couldn't believe it. So those are the two fights there. But the third fight it reminded me of was the rematch between Triple G and Canelo. And the reason why was Triple G landed more punches in that fight, but Canelo was pushing the action. He was landing the better shots, and he landed all those body shots that made the difference. Now, Haney didn't do that in this fight. He landed more body shots, but he didn't land overall more. He didn't throw overall more, and he didn't dictate the pace. But what I'm trying to say about that rematch with Canelo and Triple G is I felt like Canelo dictated the pace by pushing the fight, and landing the better shots. And that's why I was really disappointed in the way they judged this fight. It was like, come on, man. I mean, how you gonna say Haney won 7 rounds? That was just the thing that pissed me off in that fight. It really was. I was very, very disappointed.
History repeats itself too much with those kind of decisions. Manny Pacquiao, Bradley won. Castillo, Mayweather won. I mean, these are just types of fights that are gonna haunt these fighters for a long time.
Yeah, and I really
no one's ever gonna. It's not over till it's over. It's unfinished business, and it's just not professional to act like this fight wasn't even close. Haney said, I believe.
Oh yeah, his dad's trying to throw cold water on it by saying, "Oh well, what's the point in a rematch because we won the fight, and it wasn't even that close." That's some bullshit. I'm sorry, that's some bullshit. When the majority when your crowd, Haney lives in Vegas now, and Lomachenko's from another country. When your hometown is booing you, and then you get every celebrity, but also former fighter. The majority is saying you need to rematch them. The respect I give to Mayweather was both fights that were close. He gave those guys rematches.
Yeah,
Castillo, Maidana, he gave them rematches.
I felt like he took those fights because honestly, I felt like he thought he lost, but I thought Mayweather felt like he thought both fights definitely weren't Mayweather fights.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, I'll be straight with you. I felt like Castillo absolutely beat him. The fight with Madonna was close. You could have called it either way. But the point is he fought the rematches because people doubted him.
Yeah.
You know, and my thing is, if you're a real champion and you want to create your legacy, and especially if the rematch is going to generate a lot of money, why not fight him? Because here's the thing: Tank doesn't seem to be interested in fighting Haney next. He doesn't seem to be interested in that fight, and we know Haney's not going to fight Shakur. So your next best option is a rematch with Loma before you move up and wait, and it's going to make a shitload of money.
And you got some nightmares at 142. You got
but the thing is Loma brings more money to the table than all those dudes at 140. You know, so yeah, in a rematch, it's just like, hey, if you really want your legacy, fight him again. And if you lose, you could make the excuse, hey, 135 is not my weight class. You know, he can make that excuse and then move up to 140, and nobody's gonna shit on him for that. You know what I'm saying? But to not fight him at all, bro, it's just it's a disrespect to the sport, to be honest.
Yeah, bro. I don't think he's not gonna get no respect now taking this rematch, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I hope the rematch. I hope he feels enough pressure and gives him the rematch. But I'm with you. I don't think he's going to, bro. So
it'd be more safer for him to. I don't know, bro. I'm so tired of these guys not fighting. I mean, I know you've seen that. I want to see Shakur and him. I wouldn't mind seeing Shakur.
Yeah, he ain't gonna give Shakur that smoke, bro. Shakur is gonna whip his ass. That's why, bro. And he knows it. You know.
You see what Shakur did last night?
Oh yeah, yeah.
That bottle with the sign that said "sign the contract."
Yeah, and Haney ain't gonna fight him, bro. He just not. Haney's gonna run scared of him, bro. Because here's the thing. The last thing I'm gonna say is, if in the 10th round, when he said to his dad, "What do I do?" He knows everything I'm doing. If you're that afraid of a 35-year-old fighter, what the fuck do you think he's gonna do against a dude that's probably gonna be the next pound for pound king of boxing in Shakur, bro? You know?
He's bad.
Yeah, he's just flat out scared, straight up. Yeah. So yeah.
And he's quiet now. Where is he at? Have anybody heard from Devin Haney at all?
And he's a free agent, so he can do whatever the fuck he wants, technically. You know? Wow. But he's being quiet. So yeah. All right, so now we jump into the face of boxing, Canelo. We're going to look at Canelo versus Ryder first, and then we'll talk about all his options after that. Canelo versus Ryder, bro. How do you think that fight went?
Just like we all thought it was, except for the part where Ryder came to fight. He came to fight, bro. I still had Canelo winning comfortably, of course. You know, it was just style make fights, bro. So I had Canelo winning comfortably. That's all I can say about it. It didn't really, nothing surprised me. Nothing stood out in that victory, though. It wasn't a big Canelo win like all his other wins.
Yeah, well, what I don't like is the disrespect for John Ryder as an opponent that a lot of the fans, you know, the casual fans give, because John Ryder is a lot more credible than people give credit for. And no disrespect to David Benavidez, but if you look at Ryder's resume versus Benavidez, you can argue that John Ryder's resume is better. Yeah. And then that's what pissed me off, because he's not a flashy guy and people don't know him, and because he's got a few losses, you want to disrespect him and look at him like he's a scrub, and he's not a scrub. You know,
I hate that phrase.
Yeah, yeah,
I hate that phrase.
Yeah. You know, and that's what pissed me off is, like, John Ryder. You know, that dude, you could argue beat the number one guy prior to Canelo, which was Callum Smith. They fought. He lost a controversial decision, and then he beats Danny Jacobs last year, and then becomes the mandatory to Canelo. So it's like that dude earned his spot, you know, and that's why Canelo fought him. But Canelo's been going through this for years.
Yeah, because he's not a big name person. I don't get that either. I did catch that Danny Jacobs win. That alone right there says a lot. Danny Jacobs is not an easy person to beat at all.
Yeah. Yeah,
they don't give him the respect that he deserves, and I feel like he could possibly get bigger fights out there as well.
They're already talking about Ryder fighting Triple G next, so you know. Yeah, but
and
I
he could
mean,
possibly.
Canelo fucked him up though. I mean, even though he
Yeah,
didn't knock him out, Canelo broke his nose. He put him down a couple times, bloodied him up. I mean, what do you know? I mean, I'm sorry, just and Canelo was looking at this dude, even though this dude is a top 3 guy at 168.
yeah,
Canelo looked at him as a tune-up fight,
yeah.
you know, because he had the hand injury last year and the surgery. So it was kind of like,
Oh yeah,
well,
definitely.
you know,
You got
I
this.
mean,
This was that type of fight that he needed because of that hand injury. You got to test that, especially if you're gonna go up against the Benavidez or Bevo rematches.
yeah,
You gotta have that tune-up fight. So yeah, most boxing fans are just who is this guy, but I totally get why Canelo, and I think it was a good move, and I think Ryder did earn his way up, like you said.
yeah, yeah. So now what's Canelo doing next? You know, there's been talks of him, how Bivol shot down the rematch because Canelo's offering him the same amount of money that he offered him the first time. Um, then David Benavidez kind of threw a little bit of flair there and said, "Hey, we offered Canelo $50 million, and now they're saying Canelo is not going to fight Benavidez." But what I read today was that Canelo didn't turn the fight down. That somebody close to the situation said that David Benavidez has had the contract signed. He signed a 3-fight deal with the PBC to fight Plant, Morrell, and then Charlo. So the people that are close to the situation are saying that Benavidez was just throwing kind of smoke out there to get everybody to think that Canelo's ducking him when that fight was never really a possibility. And Canelo is dead set on the fight with Bivol. So kind of don't know what to believe. But now today I read that Canelo's in negotiations with Charlo
Seen that.
and for September. How do you feel about that first, man?
All right, with the Canelo and Benavidez and Bevo, man, I don't know, bro. Honestly, we all want to see Benavidez and Canelo. That's the
Yeah,
fight. That's the
yeah,
fight to make. I hate to say it, and I hate to say it more because he hasn't been doing anything. He's irrelevant, but Charlo has waited longer for this shot. So, and a lot of people have still up to this day been giving Canelo problems because of Charlo. So I don't know. Me personally, as a fan of both David and Canelo, I wouldn't mind letting Canelo get these other fights out of the way first. You know what I mean? The maybe Andrade and Charlo, the guys who waited longer than Benavidez. But you got to give up the belts too, as well. Go down to middleweight, go take those fights that for those guys who've been waiting longer, vacate the belts, and come win them again against the champ, David Benavidez.
yeah. I mean, I agree with you to the point that Benavidez is the biggest fight that can be made for Canelo next. But I am going to say this: Canelo gets hate on all sides. You know, he always
Mhm.
does. If he fights Charlo and Charlo hasn't fought in over 2 years, people are going to be like, "Oh, well, he fought a guy that hadn't fought in over 2 years. He picked Charlo now instead of fighting him then." And my argument with Charlo is Charlo's never earned the fight with Canelo.
Yeah.
Andrade has never earned the fight with Canelo. Benavidez has. Benavidez
Yes.
beat Caleb Plant. He's earned that fight. But if Canelo avoids that and goes after Bivol in a rematch, okay, he's trying to avenge a loss, so nobody should hate on him for that
Yeah. I get that.
and everything. But now the talk is that also that Canelo could move up to cruiserweight and go try to become a 5 division world champion and fight Badu Jack at cruiserweight at 200 pounds. I don't know how I feel about any of it. I just want to see Canelo sign that next fight. And I don't, I really don't want him to fight Charlo because I've always felt like he was going to whip Charlo's ass.
We
But
all did.
if he fights Charlo now when Charlo hasn't fought in 2 years, then Charlo has a built-in excuse,
Yeah.
and
And
all his fans do.
with this 3-fight deal that David Benavidez has, I get that, but there's no way that anybody convinced me that he would not drop this Morrell fight right now to fight Canelo.
Oh
So
yeah,
so
for
yeah,
sure.
so it doesn't matter about this 3 fight deal because it doesn't mean can't easily fit Canelo in on those 3 fights, you know. And we've
Yeah,
seen it. We've seen companies happen. He's a free agent, so I mean that fight would be just as easy to make with any other company,
yeah.
Canelo. But yeah, I don't see no lie in David Benavidez. I don't think he's using Canelo for clout. I definitely think they threw an offer, and I definitely think that Morale was his backup.
Yeah. And I think Morel's a risky fight, man. I actually like that fight a lot for Benavidez, but Morel's a hog, man. So that's gonna be a good one if that's the fight that's made for later on this year for Benavidez, man. You know, because Morel's a good fighter. I just don't want Canelo to fight Charlo next
I
because
get it.
Charlo's just gonna have that built-in excuse. You know, after Canelo whips his ass, he's just gonna have that built-in excuse for why he didn't fight, or oh, Canelo chose me now when I was rusty and I hadn't fought in 2 years.
See
That's
that, and
that's gonna
Canelo,
be the excuse.
while Canelo's fresh, I would take those harder fights and then worry about the Charlos and Andrades later.
Yeah, yeah, I'm with you,
But
man.
yeah, because those fights could be people are still gonna fight watch those fights no matter what, no matter when they happen.
Absolutely, yeah.
But this David Benavidez and Canelo, man, I don't know who do you got on that one.
I still think Canelo's the betting favorite. I still think his body attack is counterpunching. I just think he's on a different level from the guys that Benavidez has ever fought. But I wouldn't be surprised if David won. To be honest, though, I think if these guys fight at 175 and David and they fight in like another year or two, I think that benefits David way more because he doesn't have to cut the weight. I
Yeah,
don't think he's as strong at 168. I really don't because he's been cutting weight for a couple of years now, for about 3 or 4 years now. You
yeah,
know, and that's just my opinion. I just don't think he's fought anybody that's even close to the level of Canelo.
yeah. His biggest he's got good wins. Okay, Plant, that was a huge win. Some of the other guys like Love, Gion Love.
Oh,
I didn't
yeah,
really,
yeah, Jay
yeah,
Leon Love.
Mayweather's guy. I didn't really think much of these other fighters, that he beat before either. Like Darrell was already on his way out. Although he made them all look easy, um, I think that Caleb Plant would. I think Caleb Plant would have got knocked out in the 7th round, even earlier than Canelo knocked him out. To be honest, if it wasn't for, I mean, who we kidding? He was fighting 2 other people in the ring. I mean, another guy in the ring. He's fighting the referee plus Caleb Plant, David Benavidez. I honestly
Yeah,
feel like if it wasn't for that referee interrupting the whole fight from the round one, I honestly feel like Caleb Plant would have got knocked out in the 7th round.
yeah,
And not just, yeah, I mean, he stopped it countless times. The whole fight. Anybody that was watching it would see. And I really feel like if that didn't happen at all, he would have not only he did already beat him. He already put more hands on him. He didn't knock him out, but he did put hands on him worse than Canelo, in my opinion. He just didn't knock him out. But the stoppage would have came if it wouldn't have been for the referee for sure.
okay.
Because I
Well,
mean,
let me
the corner wanted to stop it, and that's when the referee was helping him. There's not a round in that fight where the referee did not help him.
let me flip it on you. Do you think David beats Canelo if they fight now?
It's a great fight. I do favor David Benavidez, but one thing that uh worries me as I like David more than Canelo is the body shots. You can't stop you can't if he gets knocked out, if David Benavidez gets knocked out, it will be because of that body shot. And that's the only thing that I feel that he has advantages over Canelo because I feel like the jab, the height, everything favors Benavidez to me, especially the jab. You just work off the jab and the work output. I just don't see Canelo Alvarez beating him any other way than taking his legs out.
Yeah, I agree. And ever since Canelo stepped into his prime, which I felt started in the rematch with Triple G, it was about body punching. That's how you break an opponent down. But the one thing that I think is significant that nobody talks about a lot is the fact that Canelo can take a punch. He's got a great chin. And David's got a good punch, don't get me wrong, he's a strong dude, But when Canelo continues to keep coming forward and investing in that body attack and that counter punching, I think that's going to really pay off for him against David. I think that's why I think Canelo beats David if they fight right now at 168. That's just my opinion. I wouldn't be surprised if David wins, but I really think Canelo. There's a reason why he's the favorite going into that fight if they were to sign that fight now. So
the thing with David though is every fighter for him, he's so intelligent there. Every single fighter for him is different. If he knows he has to be careful, he will be careful. With that Caleb Plant fight, he could box. He showed it in the middle of the ring, but I don't know. It just depends on a certain level of the fighter. With Canelo, I can't see him pressuring him right away. I'll finding different gaps, different tools to use, other than to just think you're gonna go in there and do the same thing to Canelo that you do to everybody else, because they're in for a war.
Right.
Because he's a body puncher himself.
Yeah. Well, it should be interesting. Hopefully, we hear something soon about what Canelo's going to do. And because he has to. I mean, he has to release that soon because he's fighting in September. No matter what. I personally feel it's going to be the rematch with Bivol. And if that happens, what do you think? Who do you think wins that one? Because Canelo's dead set on fighting at 175 again.
Well, he wasn't 100%, and we all know he had surgery problems, or he had arm problems, so he had surgery. I honestly feel like he just didn't fight like himself in that first fight. He kept aiming for that shoulder, something that he did with Smith. But we could see that this wasn't going to be no Smith situation. I don't know why he kept fighting like that, throwing that right hook to that shoulder. And I just felt like it was in Canelo. And later on, we found out why he couldn't throw that left hook. So he only had a straight right.
Right.
He couldn't use his left to throw jab properly or anything else hook. So I think it'll definitely be a close round decision for Canelo.
Yeah, I could see that happening. Honestly, at 175, I really don't think Canelo wins at 175 against Bivol, but if he can keep it close and make adjustments, if it's a close fight, I think Canelo gets the nod in a close fight. So, so I think Bivol's going to have to dominate him again in order to win the fight. So
definitely, because if it's close at all, it's going to be Canelo. But like I said, I don't think it'll be the same fight. It just wasn't a Canelo fight. It was just too awkward.
Yeah.
Too awkward.
I got you.
And not that Bivol is not a great fighter. I take nothing away from him. But just throwing, I don't think fighting elite fighters like David Benavidez and Arthur Beterbiev, how you pronounce his name?
Beterbiev. Yeah.
I don't think that style is gonna favor him. Those straight punches. That's just me.
Yeah.
You gotta have some power, and sometimes footwork isn't enough once you get hit to that body by a power puncher. So what's Bivol gonna do then? I think that Canelo has a better chance if being 100% in this next fight.
Well, he's going to have to show that if they fight again, man. I mean, Canelo's going to have to be at his best if they fight again if he wants to win that fight. Because Bivol's very good, man. I mean, people question his power, but I said going into that fight that I wouldn't be surprised at all if Bivol beat him. Bivol's been around the last 5-6 years. He's been a champion. Personally, I like Arthur Beterbiev. I think Bivol beats him because of his counterpunching and his boxing ability. That dude is he's a very smart guy. He's very dedicated to his style. And every time Canelo tried to get something started, he would just hit him with a combination. Boom, 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 boom. And back up Canelo. And he had just enough power to keep Canelo honest and keep Canelo off of him. And that's why I say it's going to be a tough fight at 175. That's why I think Canelo should take Bivol up on Bivol coming down to 168 and fighting him, because I think that gives Canelo a big edge right there. So,
and then if he does that, he can return the favor by having the third fight back at 175.
Absolutely. That's always been my thing, but here's the thing though. I love Canelo. I don't think Canelo wants to fight him a third time. I think that's why he's like, hey, I'll fight him at 175. I'm not risking all my belts at 168. If he beats me again, I can make the excuse of, 175 is too big for me, you know, and I mean, it is what it is. I mean, some fighters just don't have confidence that they can win certain fights at certain areas, and that's the thing is, what if better be if, or what if Bivol comes down to 168 and beats him? Then Canelo's got no belts, and then he's like, what the fuck, I mean, that's gonna be so.
That's pretty much the end. Then you got to go for Andrade and Charlo.
Absolutely. So
what's left?
And that's the thing. I don't think Canelo understands how good he really is. I think he questions how good he really is a lot. So,
of course, he takes these unbelievable fights like Bivol. That's unheard of for him, for a little guy. What was it, 154, right, or 147?
For what?
Canelo. What's the smallest weight division he's ever been in?
He started at 147. So.
Wow. That's crazy. Bivol is a very big guy.
Oh yeah, Bivol's he's a career light heavyweight, bro.
He started his career like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. He's been there the whole time.
That's a big F. That's a big F for Canelo.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, you got to give Canelo props for moving up that much weight and trying to be the man. I mean, that's a big deal, bro. I think his best weight. And the only weight he's going to be able to be the best in is at 168, bro. I really don't think outside of a couple fights here and there to try to become world champion at 175 and cruiserweight, I don't see him being dominant in those weights just because of his size, bro.
And he should have no shame in that because, like you said, like you got De La Hoya, one of the all-time greats, because of everything he. And it's funny because he got me. I became a fan because I didn't like him. I didn't like him, especially after the Corte fight when he didn't want to give him that rematch. He said, "You think it was a good fight? It wasn't a good fight. It was a great fight, split decision. They both dropped each other in the sixth round." I think this decision like that is why Canelo was so great because De La Hoya chose to do all those types of. De La Hoya went to fight a prime B-hop. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. You just don't. That's not easy to do. And Canelo, he's trying same way other great champions have. So that stuff like that's what dares him to be great.
Yep. Well, and it's about glory at some point, bro. It really is. It's about legacy and glory, and some of these guys like Mayweather. I think Mayweather doesn't understand about himself why people don't like him. It's not because he didn't win all the time. It's because he didn't dare to be great, man. You got to dare to be great. That's the thing. You really do. You got to take some risk in order to be great.
And when people not talking, you got to. I get what you're saying. What you got to find out how great he really is.
Yeah. Well, and when you stand there and you just settle for the win by rolling your shoulder and counter punching and only landing whatever and not really risking yourself and entertaining the fans, then the fans give up on you. And I've always said this about Mayweather. What's the thing you remember most about his biggest fights? The build-up and the money. You don't remember the fights themselves. You don't remember, remember how great Mayweather was when he did this or he did that? You just don't. You just remember the build-up and you remember the money.
Not since Pretty Boy, because I was a fan of Pretty Boy.
Me too.
I wasn't a fan of Money May, but Pretty Boy definitely showed up.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yep, agreed.
But he was definitely the Mayweather fights were definitely bigger at the conferences and whatever,
Yeah.
The action really didn't. He had to have a good dance partner. You know what I mean? He wasn't. His last fight was with his professional boxer. His last professional fighter was Andre Berto.
That was terrible. That was right after Pacquiao.
Imagine how many sales that one did, and that was his last fight.
Yeah,
he had to have a good, Pacquiao. Most of those fans that ordered that fight were Pacquiao fans. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right, man. So, looks like my boy Melly's having service issues with his phone. He's logging in and all that stuff. So, we're pretty much just this is the last major topic we're gonna talk about. We could talk about a couple other things before we close it out, but Tank and Ryan Garcia. We're going to talk about this one last and what happened that night. and just the buildup of the fight. I'm gonna put it on you, D. Go ahead, man.
Well, the event itself was, man, it was awesome. You know what I mean? But going into the fight, the questions were, how is the weight drainage and how is the circus type fight WWE's event gonna play out? Played out like everybody thought. Ryan wasn't 100%. He wasn't as fast. He wasn't as strong. He we just talked about this. He dared to be great though to get this fight. So I can't take anything away from him. Tank, hell of a fighter too. Sad thing is, we still don't know how great he is too, because I mean, I have never ever heard about these clauses in the years that I've watched boxing. Like I said, 20 plus years, I've never ever heard of this type of negotiations, and I think that killed it for the fight. For Tank fights, um, it's not, I mean, for his fans, it's not gonna matter, you know what I mean? Because most of them, I hate to say it, and I'm not trying to be biased, but most of them don't really know too much about boxing. They're Mayweather fans. You know, he got most of his fans from Mayweather, in my opinion, anyways. So it's just not gonna matter to him to have that kind of win where he wasn't where he was favored to win. It's not gonna matter to him because that's just the kind of character he is. You know, he's not gonna dare to be great, and I don't, not yet, anyways. I just don't get why. And Ryan Garcia, I don't get why he did that. Like I said, he dared to be great, but you gotta know your body. You gotta know that you're used to gaining 20 plus pounds, and you can't even gain 10 past 10 hours prior to the fight. It wasn't Ryan Garcia, so it just doesn't say, the win didn't say that much to me.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. Like, Tank is good, is very good, maybe. But I still don't know how good he is. Not even great. I'm not even going to put him in the great. I'm not even going to use the word great with Tank because you know, I've said this before and people go, oh, you just don't like Tank. I like Tank's style. I think his timing is very good. I think his
Yeah.
power is very good. But the thing I don't like about him, or not even that I don't like his shit, I question it, is who is this guy really beat? You know, you look at Leo Santa Cruz. Leo Santa Cruz, that was his fourth weight class. And Tank
That's
is
basically De La Hoya fighting Bernard.
pretty much, you know, and don't get me wrong, great knockout by Tank. I gave him props for that. But it was like, it was a big dude knocking out a little dude, is what it was at the end of the day. Um, and then you
It
look
reminded
at, you
me.
know,
It reminded me of Canelo and Khan. Just pretty much just
yeah,
waited for his opportunity to knock him out.
yeah. I mean, that's really what it was. And then you look at some of his other fights, the fight with Mario Barrios, so even the fight with Santa Cruz. Tank loses rounds. Tank is not dominating these fights ever. You know, even the fight with Rolly, he wasn't winning that fight. He wasn't winning every round when he caught Rolly. And that's what I'm saying. If Tank is losing rounds to these dudes that really haven't done anything yet, what do you think he's going to do when he fights a truly great fighter? Why do you think he's avoided Lomachenko this whole time? You know,
For
but
years.
what bothers?
Lomachenko called him out for years. Yeah,
Oh
for
yeah,
years now. Like
yeah. And what?
how many years has it been since Lomachenko first called out Gervonta Davis?
It's at least been 4 to 5 years
That's crazy.
because Tank won his first title when he beat Pedraza. That was in 2016, I want to say. And he probably became, you know, on Loma's radar right around 2018, right there where Loma felt like he was worthy to consider. And
Yeah, he was a name. He was a name already. I mean, look at
yeah,
Loma. Loma only had 11 fights before, or 9 or 8 before he was already fighting elite fighters. So
oh yeah,
in his mind, it shouldn't matter that Tank had this many amounts of fights or this many amounts of fights. He's already a name. He's already a name already. He's already making a buzz and knocking people out. He just
yeah,
didn't take the fight. I just think he was protected. One of those guys that's been protected, and now he's doing it to himself.
yeah.
So
And then yeah, but the fight itself between Tank and Ryan, what I didn't like about it was it's one thing, you know, there's been weight clause shit all the time. Um, but what I didn't like is you had two weight clause things on it. You know, you tell him to go down to 136. I didn't understand that because Tank fought Mario Barrios at 140 already.
Exactly.
So why not fight him there? You know? But if you're gonna do that, why do the 10-pound rehydration clause? You either do one or the other. Like if he would have said 140, but you can't weigh more than 150 the day of the fight, I would have been okay with that. If he would have done 136 with no rehydration clause, I would have been okay with that. But to do two of them, I just went, man, there's just no way that he doesn't have like a significant edge going into this fight. And I still pick Ryan to win the fight.
Yeah, I
But
would too. I would too. I just think Ryan wanted to get it. I just felt like as the fight was going on, he knew his body and he knew that he was shutting down because he wanted to get it over with. His I think he thought his best chance was early in the fight. He was no way he was gonna make it to that 12th round. That's just my opinion on it. But Tank did his thing and timed him very well. He just came into aggressively. I remember calling it the round right before it. Like it's like he's leaving that body open. If he nails that body, it's over. The very next round. So I mean, it's not something that people couldn't see. I just felt like it just wasn't Ryan. Of course, it wasn't 100%. I wouldn't even say 80 or 90%. He was just so weak, bro.
yeah, he might have been like half of himself, to be honest, bro.
And
And the one thing about Ryan is even when he gets tired, he comes back and keeps attacking. And he just didn't do that against Tank. And a lot of people, as you said, a lot of people just don't know boxing. They're casual fans. So all they look at is the end result. They don't care. They're not going to look at this or that, the weight and all the details. They're going to just be like, oh, well, Tank won and Ryan lost. That's all that matters. And that's what sucks about this,
A lot of people don't know that Tank did the same thing to Barrios with the weight class, except he didn't make them. Except that he didn't make him go down. He just wouldn't let him go up.
Yeah. Well, and then that's what there was a dude that I used to talk to a lot about boxing. He told me he felt that Tank can move all the way up to welterweight and beat Keith Thurman because Tank knocked out Barrios and Thurman didn't. And I said, but Barrios, the reason he faded against Tank was because of his weight issues at 140. His very next fight, he jumps to 147 against Thurman, and Thurman beats him by a decision, even though he pretty much beat Barrios' ass. But I was like, you don't see that weight had to do a lot to do with that, that the weight issue had a lot to do with that. And the guy he's one of those casuals. No, that didn't matter. That didn't matter. And it's like, come on, man. That's why, to be honest, the point of this podcast, True Boxing, is fact-based opinions. It's not just my opinion, your opinion. It's opinions based on facts, bro. You know what I'm saying? And nobody wants to hear that. A lot of people don't want to hear it. But then again, I got a lot of subscribers because people respect that about me. So I don't know.
I just don't. The thing with the weight, and people complain, "Oh, Ryan's big, Ryan's that." If you can make the weight, if you're willing to do it to your body and sacrifice it and blow, you could blow up as much as you want, like any other fighter afterwards. I don't get, and like I said, I just think Tank was scared and his whole team was scared. They didn't want that, Then so I don't know. I didn't like that rehydration clause. If you could make the weight, then you should be able to blow up as much as you want afterwards.
Yeah, well, I think if you really want that smoke, you really want to prove yourself, go fight Haney now. Go fight Lomachenko now. Go fight Shakur now. If you're the man,
if you're all those guys, bro, if you're all those guys except Shakur, you're the one doing that because Shakur's the one trying to get it with everybody.
Oh yeah, he wants
all the smoke. He wants all the smoke. So, all right, now at that weight division, I see everybody keeping quiet because of Shakur.
And what's sad though is Tank has the name now to dictate terms to any guy, even though he's not the undisputed champ. He's going to be the A side,
exactly.
So he can get whoever he wants. If he wants to fight Haney, he can get him. He wants to fight Lomachenko, he can get him. I know he doesn't want to fight Shakur, but what's sad about Tank is he's not going to fight Haney or Lomachenko. He's probably going to fight Isaac Cruz next in a rematch. Yeah. And I'm just like, I like Isaac Cruz.
But he beat him with one arm.
Yeah, he beat him with one arm, and a lot of people are like, oh, look at the way Isaac Cruz is knocking people out. Who?
Yeah.
Gamboa? Old man Gamboa?
Yeah, and even before that, even the last fight after that, and the fight before that, he fought guys I didn't even know. You know.
Oh, yeah. Well, he fought Eduardo Ramirez, who's solid, but Eduardo Ramirez moved up 2 weight classes. 2 weight classes. And he wasn't even a great fighter at featherweight. He moved all the way up to lightweight, and Cruz knocks him out. And you're like, oh, wow. I'm like, what are we wowing this guy about? Don't get me wrong. I like Isaac Cruz. He's a tough guy, man. But I'm like,
I like his style too, but he needs to fight somebody before man, anybody. You know what I mean? Like, I know Tank don't have a belt at 135, but Tank should be in line for a belt for a title shot against Devin already. That should be the fight to make already right now.
Well, Tank holds the regular belt to Devin Haney's super title, and if Tank wanted to get the governing body to order that belt, all he has to do is call him.
Yeah.
And be like, hey, order the fight. I want to make this fight now. And he could get the fight on Showtime because Devin is a free agent now. There's really no excuse for Tank to not fight Devin next. No. There really isn't.
Yeah, sure. And for some reason, man, these guys, Bell, I don't know, man, what it is with these guys, man. They don't have the Barrera and the Morales and everybody that I just named, Marquez. All those guys had like 3 to 6 trilogies. You know what I mean? With different fighters, and that was before they were 30, all in their primes. And these guys, some of these guys are just like Crawford and Spence. You know what I mean? You can't get these guys to fight once before the 30s.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. So,
embarrassing.
Yeah, we could talk about a couple other minor fights that we've been looking forward to. Fulton and Inoue, they're fighting in July. Okay. That's going to be good, man, in Japan. Yeah. I can't wait to see that fight, bro. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, I like Inoue. He's pretty good, bro. He's an exciting fighter. You know what I mean? To watch. I need to watch more of him, though. You know what I mean?
Go check out Fulton, man, because Fulton ain't no joke, dude. He's a good fighter.
I definitely will, bro.
Yeah. And I know I sent you the fight. I don't know if you had a chance to watch it, but Havanasian and Neary, oh my God, to me, that was fight of the year before Derevyanchenko and Munguia. That was an all-out war, bro. One of the best fights I've ever seen. I want to show that fight some love. Yeah, I want to show some love to Marlon Topolis for his upset of MJ at 122. That was a big win. Featherweight is exploding. That's a great division. 130, Navarrete and Oscar Valdez, bro. That's going to be good in August, dude. I can't wait for that fight.
Yeah, there's a lot of good fights. Man, to be honest, bro, I can't. Boxing's been so good to me, bro. This year, I felt like all the fights coming up. I'm just looking forward to all these fights, bro. Like even more.
Yeah.
So many more to be made. Besides,
absolutely, bro. Yeah.
We got. To be honest, I gotta thank. It goes back to Ryan, bro. Gotta thank him because he's doing what a lot of fighters are trying to avoid. You know what I mean? A boy said you gotta have this voice in boxing. You know, to go to different promotions and the Tyson Fury and Wilder thing, different promotions and all that. You got to have a voice in boxing.
Yeah.
And hopefully more people start using that voice to get these big fights out of the way.
Well, you got to take risk, and you can't be so afraid of losing your O, bro. It's going to happen, and you can bounce back if you're a big enough and a good enough fighter, bro.
Our favorite fighters and champions had 4 to 6 losses. You know what I mean? Marquez, Morales, Barrera, and they all became multi-champions. Not just champions once in somebody's era. They like probably 3 times in theirs.
Yeah, well, you mentioned them earlier. I'm looking forward to Virgil Ortiz and Stanionis in July. That's going to be a good-ass fight right there, bro. Can't wait to see that one. That's on shit, I think that's on DAZN. My guy Steve, he's out of here. Any other fights, guys? Arizlandi Lara and Danny Garcia, we don't know when they're going to be going again. Hold on one second.
For a second. My bad.
Yeah,
Go
yeah,
ahead,
but
bro. You saying?
Virgil Ortiz and Stanionis is going to be good, bro.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, in July, that's going to be a good fight. Don't count Stanionis out, people. Don't do it. Virgil Ortiz is good, but Stanionis is a great fighter. So
This
don't.
is definitely a test for Virgil. Definitely,
Yeah,
bro. And I've been a fan of his too. I really consider his style like Juan Manuel Marquez. I really do. If you probably take back, I look back and assess it, you'll probably say the same thing. Everything from his stance to his lead hooks to everything. But I definitely favor him in a lot of fights. But let's see, I can't wait for that one too. It's gonna be a big fight.
yeah,
It's one that they both wanted for a while.
yeah, yeah. Did you catch Brian Mendoza's upset of Fandora?
Yes, I did, bro.
Oh man, what a
And
knockout that was!
Sergio
Jesus.
takes me back to Sergio Martinez, Paul Williams.
Yep. Yep. He
Same.
knocked him the fuck out, bro.
Yeah.
Jesus, man.
And
He
I
caught him
actually
cold.
I like that. I like it. I like it because I don't want to say that guy's a bully, but damn, he's a big dude.
Yeah. And that's
He's
why
a
you
big
keep
guy.
fighting. That's why you keep fighting, bro. You know, I mean, and he caught him cold. It was a great punch, and now he's, sitting there sitting pretty. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he really is. So that was big. We're almost wrapping it up. Just want to
Yes,
keep
sir.
going through a
Yes, sir.
couple fights. Erislandy Lara and Danny Garcia is supposed to fight sometime this year. For the middleweight title.
So he's making his debut then, Danny.
Danny's gonna, yeah. Well, it's at a
He's ready
catch
to
weight. It'd be
middleweight.
at 150. It'd be at 155.
There you
So
go.
yeah, yeah. Better be even Callum Smith in August is going to be good for the light heavyweight title. Really looking forward to that. I don't count Callum Smith out, man. He's a real fighter. He's tough.
I like that fight too.
Yeah. And then at heavyweight, Tyson Fury not really down to fight anybody since the fight with Usyk. The undisputed fight fell through. Andrew Ruiz wanted too much money, so that's why him and Fury didn't fight. Wilder and Joshua are looking at fighting each other in December, which finally we get to see that fight. Maybe. And then Usyk's coming back and fighting Dubois, and that's going to be a good fight. That's in August. So, what do you think about Wilder and Joshua, bro?
Wilder 1 round. I mean, I don't think. Put it like this, bro. Ain't nobody in the heavyweight division gonna beat Wilder except Tyson Fury. And then, to be honest, Fury won't even beat him every time. You know what I mean? He has, but if you give him 10 fights, he'll win one of those fights. You know what I mean? But like I said, I don't think anybody else beats Wilder in that division at all.
I agree with you. I would favor Wilder to win the fight, but I'll be straight. I wouldn't be surprised if Joshua pulled it off. I wouldn't. It's that exciting of a fight, bro, to where I favor Wilder. I'd be like, yeah, Wilder's eventually going to catch him. He's going to hurt him, and he's going to knock him out. But
I
then
got a first round knockout.
Yeah, but then there's the other side of me that's like, damn, Joshua can punch too. And if it's the old Joshua, if he finds that guy again, I could see him winning. You know what I'm saying? It's just that it's that interesting of a fight, and that's why these fights got to be made, bro. I flash back to when Fury fought Wilder, that third fight, bro. That was a great fucking fight. One of the all-time best heavyweight fights I've ever seen. And I remember that what they said, because Fury had whipped his ass in the second fight. They said, we know, but we really don't know. And that's how I feel about a fight with Wilder and Joshua. Is you pretty much know Wilder's the favorite. He's probably going to win. But then you really don't know if Joshua can find that magic, bro, and beat him. You know?
I just don't I never really been that big of a fan of Joshua. It's not because I have anything personal against him at all. I just don't feel like, for instance, Klitschko's on his way out, right? When he beat Klitschko. Klitschko almost knocked him out too, you know?
Yeah.
So I just didn't really think, I don't want to say much of him. I just felt like the right guy he could be knocked out. And Wilder is definitely somebody who likes to knock out. I think he punches too fast. Anthony Joshua's defense is not exactly grade A. I just think that it's a tailor-made fight for a first round knockout. I don't even call first round knockouts, but this fight, I just can't see it going past 2
Yeah, hey, and I can't tell you
or
you're
2
wrong,
10.
bro.
I don't know, man. It just Wilder's a beast, bro. He
Yeah,
is. He don't get enough credit. I don't feel like, and I do put him up there with the punching power of Tyson. Yeah, if he gets a couple of wins like that, still, because he's got 3 big losses, big, huge. I mean,
yeah,
Tyson Fury. But if he could knock out Andy Reese and those type of fighters, that is hell, I just can't see Wilder. But I just can't see Joshua beating Wilder though, bro.
yeah. But you know what? I just want to see it get made. I mean,
Yeah.
that
Oh
just
yeah, definitely.
continues the way we were talking about with the promotions working with each other and making these big fights because we're never gonna know if these fools are gonna dance around each other. You know what I'm saying? So let's fucking fight. That's the way I see it. You know, we're never
Yeah.
gonna know who wins until you fucking get in the ring. You know? So
And I hate that people take so long on that, bro. Because no matter what, if especially if you have that voice we talked about earlier in boxing, if you have that voice, you can make any fight possible. Doesn't matter. You are not. Your promoter is not control of you unless they're in control of you. That makes sense. Because if you're
yeah,
like Tyson Fury, you run the show. You know what I mean? If you're like Ryan Garcia, you're running the show. If you're somebody like man, somebody like I don't know, Adrian Broner or somebody like that, you're not exactly running the show, you know.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You
But
know, like
if you're Canelo, if you're Tank Davis,
exactly,
you know,
yeah,
those guys call shots, man. You know, you can't tell them what to do, and that's what I'm saying. Those guys could set the trend to keep the ball rolling to get these major fights to happen over and over and over. You know, and that's what fight fans want, man. So we'll see what happens, but
yes, sir.
we're gonna call it there, bro. Unless you got anything
Yeah.
else to add,
I'm
bro.
good, brother. I
Yeah.
appreciate you having me on the show, bro.
Yeah, yeah. I just want to say, guys, we're gonna try to get to this as much as we can. I really bummed out that Melly couldn't join us, but he's having service issues. But we'll get him on the next one. I appreciate my boy D coming
Yes,
on,
sir.
man. You know,
Shout out to Melly too, bro. Shout out
yeah,
to Melly
yeah,
too.
yeah, and you know, I appreciate you coming on and helping us out. But we'll try
Oh,
to
I'm
get
good, bro.
on maybe once a month or so. But if we don't, man, just prepare yourself for a good finish to the month of June, and then July, and then August is going to be good. So, and boxing is just continuing to make those big fights. So keep watching them, and we'll keep
Yeah.
talking about them. Again, True Boxing at True Boxing 3281 on YouTube. Check me out. You got anything to promote, bro?
Yeah, I'm good, brother. Man, I had a blast, though, brother. Let's do this again, though. You know what I mean?
All right, homie. Well, we'll talk it
All right,
up.
brother.
This is True Boxing.
Yes,
You've
sir.
been hit with the truth.